Hola, soy Patricia Gómez. Bienvenidos a Adelante. Nuestro programa es ahora una serie mensual que forma parte de Milwaukee PBS Presenta y ustedes podrán vernos cada segundo jueves del mes a las 9 de la noche por Canal 10. Los invitamos a que nos acompañen. Y hoy en Adelante, MATC Car Show recauda fondos y recluta estudiantes para el programa de mecánica de automóviles. El periódico bilingüe El Conquistador está celebrando su 20º aniversario y el abogado Timothy Muth de la ACLU Wisconsin habla sobre los alguaciles de condado en Wisconsin que cooperan con el Departamento de Inmigración bajo el programa 287G. El Departamento de Mecánica de Automóviles del MATC en el Campo Sur organizó el primer Car Show. El propósito de este evento fue el de recaudar fondos para los estudiantes, así como el de promover información sobre esta carrera que continuará expandiendo sus programas al campo del centro. Johnny Muñoz está presentándonos esta historia.
This car show was really almost like a PR event for our programs so that we can attract more young people into our industry. The car show is really a way that we can kind of promote our programs and just get the word out in the community. Even if a prospective student isn't here, you know, maybe their parent or friend or grandparent is here and they can let them know about the programs here at MATC. The Classic Car Show is derived from what we call our peak Hot Rod Crew. And Hot Rod Crew is really a student club. And that student club is really what the brainchild was with one of our faculty members working with students. And that was their idea to bring this all in there. And what we did is we have a Facebook page and we were posting things on Facebook.
This was an event that we had wanted to do for a while to get the students involved, and really the students were involved quite a bit. We had them make all of the trophies that we're giving out for the car show today, and we had them help. They helped us park all the cars here, and they helped us set up a lot of the stuff, and without the students, we wouldn't have really been able to do it.
Yo me gradué el año pasado en Navidad. Pero antes de que me graduara yo ya estaba platicando con los maestros porque ellos lo mencionaron, que si queríamos por algún día hacer un car show para que nosotros pudiéramos traer nuestros carros para que todos lo vieran, y desde ahí empezó que nosotros le empezamos a ayudar. Sí estaría fuera chido que todos nos pudiéramos juntos para traer todos nuestros carros para saber qué personas les gusta hacer diferentes cosas a cada carro porque nada es igual.
Really what it does is we are raising money. Actually, it was $10 donation to our student fund, and that student fund will help our current students if they have come across a financial issue, and a lot of our students, that happens. I mean, life things happen, and so we will use those funds to assist them, whether it would be if they have a transportation issue or another personal issue that they need some funding for. That money will go towards our student fund that'll assist our students.
The primary reason my instructors asked me to help design and make these trophies was because of all the knowledge and background that I have. And as soon as I told them I used to do custom fabrication, they thought it would be a good idea if I could help out. And I just started growing ideas from looking at all the different parts that we disassembled. And I kind of made my own trophies out of them, which came out really nice. And I'm pretty proud of them, and they look good, so I hope whoever receives them is happy with them.
The next one is for Best Classic. 1957 Ford Thunderbird. Bob Dirkus, is that right?
I've won a lot of awards with this car over the last years, probably about 175, and they're all special. But being this the first annual for this show, and having been picked out of all these great cars, this is going to go in a special place in my trophy room for sure. And especially the fact that somebody made this handmade, that really makes it quite neat.
Mi carro es un 2008, es un Subaru WRX. Casi apenas lo acabé de conseguir, pero lo único que tiene, tiene un escape, tiene un intake, pero yo planeo hacer muchas cosas con él para hacerlo más rápido de lo que todavía es, pero hay muchos planes para el carro todavía.
We have a range of students anywhere from just out of high school, sometimes actually still in high school, all the way through adulthood. And a lot of our students, they haven't worked before, but a lot of them will get jobs while they are still in the program. The classrooms are actually inside an auto shop. So we're doing lecture and there's cars in the shop up on a hoist right in the classroom. And then after lecture is done, we will go into the shop and the students work on vehicles that are in the shop. And what a lot of times what the instructors will do is we'll bug a car, we call it. So we'll put a problem into a car that mimics a problem that you would have in the real world in a shop. And then the student's job is to diagnose that problem and come up with the fix. And of course the instructors help them. We try to give them real world experience in the shop at school. So then they're prepared for situations like that when they get out into the field.
A mí siempre me ha gustado estar en los carros, con mi papá siempre ha arreglado todo eso. Y un día averigüé que aquí daban ese programa y vine a ver de qué se trataba y se ve muy interesante como uno no nomás es estudiar en los libros, sino también puede poner sus manos para hacer muchas cosas. Y eso es lo que a mí me gustaba, no nomás que uno lee el libro y aprende cómo hacer, es como aprendo yo, que yo tengo que físicamente poner mis manos y tocar cosas para así aprender más mejor.
The MATC program, I think, is something that is needed and it should be going on all over the country. I'm 80 years old. I hope I have another 10, 12, 15 years to enjoy this car and do this, but at some point I'm going to be gone. And we need people who can get into this hobby, learn it, and take some of these cars and continue to show them as we all move on to another world. And it happens to all of us sooner or later. So a program like this, many of my friends and I have talked about this. Who's going to take care of these treasures? And so a program like this is absolutely the best thing that we can see right now to help prolong the car hobby.
A lot of the technicians at auto dealers and service centers are aging a little bit and they have a lot of openings, and we have room for young people to come in and get the skills they need to get really good paying jobs.
El periódico El Conquistador está celebrando su 20º aniversario. El Conquistador distribuye 15,000 ejemplares cada semana y es una publicación bilingüe que sigue el acontecer de la comunidad latina. Veamos esta historia de Salvador Gómez.
When we're doing the paper, we're not thinking specifically of what's hot, but what's going to trend for the whole week. You know, what's going to catch people's attention. And more importantly, what people need out of that whole week for a paper. Once we do that, we send it to print, and then we start circulating it. Yeah, and you know, we ended up...
Victor Huke is the publisher and one of the founders of El Conquistador newspaper, a free bilingual publication that for 20 years has been one of the main resources of information for Latinos in Milwaukee County and surrounding areas.
We started on July 4th, 1998. And it was 7 of us. We got together and we got tired of working for everybody else. And we came up with the idea of a local newspaper. At the time, the paper was pretty fresh idea. There was local papers, but they weren't really covering a lot of the stuff that was going on in the community. Often it was canned news. So what we did was we decided to start covering stuff that the mass media wasn't covering. local quinceañeras, the local soccer games, community organizations doing various things, and that's pretty much what we started focusing on. Well, the name Conquistador comes from our goals in life. You know, we want to conquer what we're doing. We set out to have family, life, house, car, and for doing this, we have to conquer our goals and our objectives. And that's what the newspaper was about, was, you know, having people who are conquering their goals, their objectives, trying to make sure that they can get themselves, you know, the American dream.
Since its beginning run in 1998, El Conquistador newspaper has been committed to deliver important and relevant local news to the growing population of Latinos in southeastern Wisconsin. With a circulation of over 15,000 copies, distributed weekly each Friday throughout Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, and Waukesha, El Conquistador is the only Latino-owned publication with the largest and longest-running circulation in the region.
What we were basically targeting was local people, and it kind of grew from there. You know, people started picking it up for Racine, Kenosha, Waukesha, Madison. We even had phone calls from people that said that they were from Green Bay and they had recently stopped at Del Rey here and they picked up a copy, which, you know, started really impressing us how much of an impact we made. And that was what we, you know, it was an indirect concept. You know, it was, we tried to do the local, and then all of a sudden, before we knew it, it was spreading throughout the state.
With topics of important focus, El Conquistador not only aims at informing its readers about what's going on in the community, but also takes part in motivating the readers on how to be more active in the community in which they live.
Well, you know, our position has always been to inform our community. You know, we want to put more news and information of things that are going on. We print a lot of the stories about health and where to get help on it, so then this way we could try to avoid any type of health crisis in the community. Same thing with crime. Oftentimes people think that when we write stories about crime, that we're sensationalizing, but in essence, what we're doing is we're helping the police to, you know, solve these issues. And that's what we try to do. Well, I think that's one of the things, is that people see us as part of the community. You know, we've been very active, from supporting the marches to, you know, supporting local issues. Immigration has been one of our forefront issues. And those are the things that we try to get ourselves into the community, is that, you know, we take a stand with our community. We often try to take a position of more of education. Oftentimes, you know, people get confused and say that we're taking a position or a stand on a particular issue. But our whole thing has always been that we like to present both sides and let the public decide. We've also covered local groups like Quinto Sol.
In addition to being an important resource for local news, El Conquistador has become a key leader in the community with its continuing support to promote the rich history, culture, and contributions of Latinos in Wisconsin and in the United States.
A lot of it was to start breaking down a lot of the stereotypes of our community. When you watch TV, especially shows, you know, crime dramas and etc., you know, as Latinos, we're often portrayed as, you know, gang members, drug dealers, you know, everything under the sun that you could ever imagine that's horrible is what we're portrayed as. So we got into this concept of doing like the Latino Family Expo, the Puerto Rican Festival, Cinco de Mayo, and the idea behind that was to showcase accomplishments of Latino community, that we have doctors, that we have lawyers, that we have Medal of Honor recipients who are Hispanic. We started, you know, showcasing the true history of Cinco de Mayo and what it represents. And you see a wide range of different things like that. And that was the whole concept that we were doing, was that we were bringing up history that was there, but not really being showcased.
Community involvement and relevant information has been a key of success for El Conquistador, which, despite of the advancement on news media platforms, is a newsprint publication which continues to grow as the Latino population increases, reaching out to other ethnic groups and new generations.
We basically go from grocery stores, laundromats, doctor's office, lawyer's office, and the concept behind that is that we put the paper basically where people congregate. And from there is where the people reach out, they see the paper, they pick it up. We also have various organizations that pick up the paper that are not Hispanic, and the idea is just to find out what's going on in our community, and whether it's a marketing agency or a group that's just interested in the Latino community. We have people that pick up the paper for those reasons. We do know that the growing trend has been that the new generation is more into the internet, and oftentimes you see a lot of the people that are on their phones and et cetera in the law office and doctor's office and whatnot. But after a while you get bored with that, and you put that down and you pick something else. And thank God that the other thing that they've been picking up has been the paper.
For Victor, El Conquistador newspaper has played an important role in his life, as this publication allows him to share many positive stories of the community in which he lives, all through his passion for writing and journalism.
In my family, we've always had a history of journalists. And in particular, I'm from Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, my grandfather owned a newspaper, he owned a TV station, so he was, very much involved in these aspects of journalism. So when I went to school, oftentimes I was always like, hey, or the school would say, hey, let's start a newspaper, and they would thrust me into it. And eventually, it's like I've been in newspapers since the day I was born,
As a founder and contributor to El Conquistador newspaper, Victor believes that the publication has been instrumental in the growth of the community.
These are some of the recognitions that we've received in the community. A lot of the awards we've gotten have been from, local people. And that's kind of what we thrive in to achieve, it's because we're being recognized by the community.
During the 20 years of the publication, El Conquistador has received many recognitions for its efforts to inform, educate, and promote the advancement of Latino communities in Wisconsin. For Victor, the best feeling of achievement can be seen on the great impact that the publication has made over the years.
The rewards have been a lot, To me, I'm the kind of guy that actually gets a kick of when I'm driving down the road and I see somebody standing at the bus stop reading a copy of the paper. When I see that people come and ask our advice about certain things that are going on in the community and ask us about things that are what they can do to help improve, that to me is, I feel like we've accomplished something, that we were able to get something going for our community. And that's always been our philosophy. For us, our invitation has always been that we're a bridge, and if you want to come to our community, here's your guide.
El programa 287G promueve el entrenamiento de los oficiales de policías locales para que actúen como agentes de inmigración. Este programa está promovido por la administración de Trump y contribuye a la deportación de inmigrantes que son arrestados por violaciones de tráfico. El abogado Timothy Muth es un miembro voluntario de la ACLU de Wisconsin y nos habla sobre el porqué de su oposición al 287G. Attorney Muth, thank you so much for being with us today on Adelante.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us how the ACLU in Wisconsin is involved with this issue of counties helping ICE?
Yes, we started a project in 2017 to collect records from all the sheriff's departments to learn what their policies were with respect to helping federal immigration enforcement.
How did you get involved with the ACLU Wisconsin, knowing that sometimes you spend time in El Salvador and then the other part of the year you are here in the state?
To be honest, working at the ACLU is something I wanted to do just about all my career. And a couple of years ago, I reached out to the ACLU, and they were kind enough to let me work with them 6 months of the year when I'm then in El Salvador the other 6 months of the year.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And that gives you a bigger vision of what is going on in between these two countries and all the immigration issues that the community is facing. Can you tell us what is been happening in Wisconsin regarding this administration, President Trump's administration, idea of training officers to become immigration agents?
Yes. So the Trump administration has been doing more and more enforcement of immigration policies in states that are not the border states. And to do that, they work with local law enforcement. And in one of our counties, Waukesha County, that county has actually signed an agreement with ICE where deputies in their jail will be essentially immigration agents able to actually start deportation proceedings against people who are in the county jail.
Why the ACLU is opposing to this practice?
Because when local law enforcement gets involved in immigration enforcement, it leads to local immigrant communities being afraid of their interactions with their local police, the local county sheriffs. And when people are afraid of local law enforcement, they don't report crimes. They don't act as witnesses to crimes. For example, in Texas and in California, local police departments have reported a decline in reporting of domestic violence cases and sexual assault cases in the Latino communities because people are afraid to go to the police because they think they go to the police and they're going to get turned over to ICE because they think the local police are working. So we think it's very important that there be a separation and that local police, local county sheriffs not be working with federal immigration enforcement in order to keep our communities safer.
What happens also when these officers, instead of doing their job of taking care of safety in their communities, they take this new role and they don't have enough time to do their duties?
That's certainly part of it as well, that all of our counties have limited resources. And for Waukesha County to decide we're going to put some of our resources to helping the federal government do its own job of immigration enforcement uses resources that could go elsewhere. In fact, the sheriff from Waukesha County, just about a year earlier, before he signed the agreement, testified in Congress that he wasn't going to sign such an agreement because it was too expensive and it was a waste of his county's resources. And then a year later, apparently, he changed his mind.
Do you know why this is happening? Why they are changing their minds?
The sheriff said that he now is just doing a limited contract where it'll just be his deputies who work in the county jail who are going to be the agents for ICE, and not the deputies who are out patrolling on the highways or in the county parks or other parts of Waukesha County. And he said when he was testifying in Congress, he says he was talking about in situations where his deputies would actually be out in the county. At least that's his explanation.
Where is this issue going with the Waukesha County Sheriff in the ACLU? What are you guys doing and moving forward to?
So we plan to monitor this very closely because our concern is that this could lead to racial profiling and other problems in Waukesha County, that the possibility of immigrants being arrested on the pretext of some violation so that they can be brought into the jail where there are deputies who are ICE agents who can then question them. We want to make sure that doesn't happen, and we'll be watching very closely what the Sheriff's Department in Waukesha County is doing going forward to see if there is any hint of racial profiling.
Attorney Muth, how can people learn more about the work that the ACLU is doing, and how can they contact the ACLU in order to talk about their specific cases or learn more?
Yeah, the best place is probably to go to our website at aclu-wi.org. You can also search for our Facebook page, just search for the ACLU of Wisconsin. And we have links there for contacting us, our phone numbers, and the different ways that people can get involved. Sign up for newsletters to keep informed about immigration and other topics that way.
I have been there, and there is lots of materials that for sure are very interesting for everyone in the community.
Great.
So we really appreciate that you are here, and we ask you to stay for our next part of the conversation.
Okay, thanks for your interest.
Thank you. Para saber más sobre los proyectos de la ACLU e inmigración, así sobre cómo lo que ocurre en la comunidad, los invitamos a que visiten nuestras historias exclusivas en nuestro sitio del internet Web Exclusives. Y con un hasta pronto nos despedimos, invitándolos a que nos dejen saber sus comentarios por el teléfono 414-297-7544 o en nuestro correo electrónico. Visite nuestro sitio del internet en milwaukeepbs.org y en Facebook. Soy Patricia Gómez, deseándoles paz y bendiciones.